For the past 4 years, I would say we worked on that like first part of what we call making crypto disappear. And then we kind of got to a realization that we cannibalized ourselves in actually building that, because I'll go to someone in Web2 and be like, we made crypto disappear. And they're like, okay, cool. It already was for me.
And we're back at the Bitcoin.com studio here at Korea Blockchain Week. I'm Graham Stone here with co-host David Sensel, and we're joined by Anthony Anzalone, aka Banksy, and also founder and CEO of Xion.
Yep.
Excited to have you on the show, Anthony. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Super exciting.
All right, so you came to prominence as Burnt Banksy. Could you take us back to that moment and what you were trying to prove by burning an original Banksy?
Yeah. So the voices in my head were just particularly loud that day. But and also is this, this is back 2021. No one had really heard of NFTs like to the concept that they are now. And I was getting a lot of flack from my friends and family for owning these things. Like, if there's, if it's not my living room, if I can't see it, where's the value? It's not real art. So I'm like, okay, let me take something that has real value, can be in the living room, and then bring it into the digital world as an NFT. Of course, I have to destroy the original, otherwise where's the fun in that? And so we lit it on fire, hence the name Burnt Banksy. We bought it for about $90,000, sold it for about $400,000, and kind of started what you're seeing today with NFTs. We're still in the Wikipedia for NFTs today.
Okay, so how did that experiment shape your view of digital provenance and the role of blockchain and culture?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that it really expanded my mind in the way, I understood that it would have a lot of implications of digital art. But what I didn't expect for it to happen was to show how borderless everything can be, right? Like, there's an American art market, there's there's Sotheby's in England, and that's kind of you kind of have these high profile artists, but you really don't have this global concept of an artist. Rather, you actually have a starving artist as a concept of a normal person. And so what I didn't realize the unlock was, and the huge unlock was for NFTs, was trying to remove that concept of starving artist in its entirety for the entire world. And, I had met so many people that I had never met before from Africa and Asia who wanted to be artists, but it was just one of these dreams that was never possible. And I think for the first time I've ever realized it was possible.
All right. So, I guess you could say that you started your journey perhaps as a provocateur.
Yeah, and ended it.
And you have since transitioned to founder.
Yes.
So, could you tell us about that transition and what you're working on?
Yeah, that's I think that the transition to founder was something that I didn't really expect to happen. After the Burnt Banksy happened, I was working. Do you guys remember Clubhouse, that app? Clubhouse? Yeah. So back in the day, I know, I'm still waiting on it. I was in Clubhouse every day doing a bunch of other NFT projects, and effectively trying to hyperscale what I was doing with the NFT stuff, but realized that there were so many problems with the industry. And I think I'd really fallen in love with the ethos. I'd really fallen in with the vision of crypto. And one of these things where I had a real job, my parents were proud of me. And then I decided to change all of that. and because I really saw the problem of we could actually fix this. We need to fix this. And a lot of that was just kind of crypto is completely unusable. And if we actually want to remove that version of the starving artist, we want to make a global economy, someone's got to do something. And so I found myself in a founder position, failed a lot, made a lot of mistakes. I still make a lot of mistakes, but it's kind of impact that needs to be done.
You said that you were experiencing lots of problems.
Yeah.
Usability. Can you kind of expand upon that?
Yeah.
Exactly what was.
So when I was doing the auction, you have to also remember this is 2021, but not a lot has changed on that front line crypto. You still need a wallet. You still need to go to Coinbase or bridge it over however you want to use. You need to know what an Ethereum or a Solana or whatever the native token is. There's a lot of headache that comes with crypto, and it's just blatantly unusable. A lot of people just think about it as a scam. And I think that is because, you've been kind of hiding behind this huge barriers to entry. So when I talk about that, it was my friends couldn't participate in what I was doing. My friends, my family couldn't do anything. And like we were on a global stage, which we were very happy about, but it was a global stage and a global message, but only really targeted to like the small set of people that had $400,000 of Ethereum.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
All right. So let's talk about Xion. For those who aren't familiar, what is it? Why should people care about it?
Yeah, you shouldn't care, is what I always say. But we're just trying to make crypto usable. I think that we've built so long in this like echo chamber where there's, dexes and like swapping and lending. And that's kind of the entirety of the ecosystem. But so Xion effectively exists. The North Star is to make crypto usable. Web 2 front end, Web 3 back end, and then just actually provide a use case for crypto. So like we're lucky enough to be working with brands like Uber and Nike and have like well over 100,000 daily active users across the network, and just actually providing value to people in the form of, let's call it verification or composability or kind of whatever they want, while maintaining that crypto ethos.
Could you break down like
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know if I want to. In crypto language, what is Xion? Like, is it a layer one?
It's a layer one. Yeah, in crypto language, it's a layer one. It really feels like one of these like by any means necessary kind of companies. So it's like we'll work with a brand and whatever they kind of need, it's just kind of like a smorgasbord of different things, right? Like we're walletless. We use like Google or Apple ID to sign in, credit card, debit card, but also we can use we can get like real technical and say like ZK email, ZK TLS for like, we can prove like ZK email, I can prove that you went to a certain university, or ZK TLS, I can prove that you're a top Uber rider, right? And so it's pretty bespoke in its form of like messaging. So it's kind of like Stripe in that matter, where there's a lot of building blocks, but like in the crypto, it's an L1, but it has smart contracts on the protocol level. Everything else is just kind of building blocks.
Okay, so you mentioned some of the brands you've worked with.
Yeah.
You say
Uber,
Nike.
Yeah.
Could you just give an example of like what they're using it for?
Yeah, absolutely. So Uber's probably the best example, and I can go to Nike as well. But Uber, as I kind of said, we can prove usage on apps, right? Like CKTLS. So we can go, and what we do is we have a budget from Uber effectively, where we have Lyft riders, and you can log in with your Lyft account. If you're a top Lyft rider, we have budget from Uber to legitimately just pay you to move over to Uber.
No, really?
Yeah. And so it's like we can prove that you're a Lyft rider, right? This is opt-in information. We're not like data crawling and listening to you on the phone. We don't store anything. We store proofs, like ZK proofs on a ZK circuit, and we can prove that you're not a Lyft rider. You prove that you are a Lyft rider. We could prove that you moved over to Uber. Let's say you've ridden 5 miles on Uber. Then you get, the kind of allocated budget. And it can be pretty bespoke, right? Like someone who's ridden 5 miles on Lyft is someone different than 50 miles on Lyft, which for those who don't know Lyft, it's an Uber competitor. Context, if we didn't get that. And Nike, it's similar, but it's rather than a competitor, it's Strava, which is a running app in the United States. So it's like we could target the people who run the most in a local area. Those end up being Nike customers. And so this is like one of the angles we're taking, which is marketing, which is we know real people, we get real data, and we're GDPR compliant. But we also get like the lowest cost for any user targeting.
Why does this need to be on the blockchain?
Yeah, it's a good question, because we don't want to store information, right? Like if we can't just like steal Lyft data, we can't steal Uber data, but we can cryptographically prove, right, via the transfer layer of the internet, ZK that, and store the proof so that we can use the proof like, yes, that is that. So the reason we need it on the blockchain is because otherwise we'd violate every data privacy law on the internet.
Oh, interesting.
And so having it in a decentralized way and a secure way, right, is really, really important to us. And, additionally being able to build like a verification layer where we have a series of proofs, like we have an Amex proof, an Uber proof, a Netflix proof, so that you can kind of get this like data layer of the internet is really what we're building for.
Could you explain about these proofs? So, is the idea basically that the information is there, but nobody can see it unless they have the key?
No one can see anything anyway. Like not even the internal machines can see them. The information is never stored anywhere. The only thing is like, I could scan, like another one we're working with is like you can scan a passport and I can prove, okay, yes, this person is a citizen of the United States, but you're not seeing anything else of that data, right? You're not seeing the name, you're not seeing the location. And something like that works really well in places that have really, really high, bribery and corruption rates, right? Where it's like, we want to do voting here, but people are genuinely scared for their lives. And so it's like, you look at like, let's say NSA attacks, right? Like in the back door, it's like, yeah, Facebook has all of our data. They store all of our data. So the reason we do it on the blockchain is because we don't want to store anything. And the proofs are just looking at things like binary. It's either a yes or a no.
So you said that, so that's the backend, Web3 backend. So there's a Web2 front end.
Yeah.
What does that entail?
Imagine if I'm doing all this stuff like with Uber and it's like, great, now download the MetaMask.
Yeah.
And then, oh, sorry, you didn't actually have enough, ETH in your account to be able to do that. That sucks. You lost your go to Coin. Yeah. So go, did you remember those Corgi 12 words? That sucks. You lost everything. So it's, we for the past 4 years, I would say we worked on that like first part of like what we call making crypto disappear. And then we kind of got to a realization that we cannibalized ourselves in actually building that, because it was like, I'll go to someone in Web2 and be like, we made crypto disappear. And they're like, okay, cool. It already was for me.
It never was.
I don't care about this.
Yeah. So but the Web2 front end, I imagine it's per customer, or is it like a?
No, it's like log in with Google, or it's similar to a wallet, but it's a meta account. It's a smart contract account effectively. So you can do it on your phone. Yeah, you can do it on your phone. I did it on a treadmill once, which is pretty cool. You can do it on legitimately any device, TV.
Samsung
really cool.
refrigerator.
Dude, you laugh. Yeah, someone did it on a Samsung refrigerator. It's freaking awesome. And you're not really constrained by anything. It's also like credit card, debit card, no like USDC, but it is stablecoin. And like, if you want to use Bitcoin, you can, right? Because big part of this is like, there's the world out there that doesn't use crypto, but there is still the world that like will use crypto. And so we wanted to make sure that like even Bitcoin wallets are still compatible, and even Bitcoin can be still compatible with everything we do. Although we know that there's 7 billion people out there, and there's probably 700,000 crypto people out there.
I believe you described Xion as an infrastructure layer, comparing it to something like Stripe.
Yeah.
Could you explain what your business model is? How do you make money?
Yeah, I think like a really good way to think about it is, it's like Plaid. Are you familiar with Plaid?
Yeah.
Where you like log in with your bank. Okay, so instead of logging in with your bank, we can log in with anything in the world, right? Whether that be your AT&T account or your we're in Korea. Whether that be your Uber, whether that be your Nike, and you can get that information, right? Similarly, you can get your banking information. And so it's like, the way that we make money in a couple of ways depends. Like on the product side, we get revenue because we're like facilitating, let's say on that marketing angle, right? Like we have budget to target users and we get a percentage of that. But on like the infrastructure layer, it's, every proof we charge a very fraction of a cent. And think about that attuned to like a gas fee, right? So it's basic gas fees, but we don't call them gas fees. It's just like processing fees.
Does Xion have a token?
Yeah, it's Xion.
Funny how that works.
I thought about that.
Xion.
Yes, exactly.
Now, how does that fit into what are the tokens?
It powers up.
Value accrue to the token in some way?
Yeah, there's a buyback and burn mechanism, but effectively it powers everything, right? And so it's one of these things where like we're talking to Uber, we're not really mentioning Xion token, but to that point, revenues will be used to buy back and burn the Xion token. And so the way that I look at a lot of this stuff, it's like AWS credits in a way, right? Like I'm using, I'm on YouTube right now, probably watching. I don't know where you guys post this, but I'm on YouTube watching. Yeah, YouTube. I don't know where it's hosted. I don't know how they're paying for that, but I know that I'm watching this incredible interview with three handsome men, right?
Absolutely. All right. So, looking at your website, the roadmap you've shared, it's like framed in ages.
Yes.
Could you get into that? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's funny because I find what I do, and like we talked about this a little earlier, where I like end up cannibalizing myself, which is, we started with like the age of burning, which let's get attention, right? Like there's an issue, let's draw an issue to that. That was the Banksy. Then it was, oh my God, this is completely unusable technology. And we need to actually be able to reach out to the world. So we needed to abstract everything. And for the past 3 to 4 years, it was the age of abstraction. Now it's like we're sitting there and like, great, okay, we did that. Congratulations. Why should people care about crypto? And took a lot of like soul searching effectively. But effectively, the answer to that is we can prove everything on the internet, right? Whether that be money, art, real estate, everything in the world, we can prove on the internet, because before this, the internet was just a cesspool of nothingness. And like you have the dead internet, AI is just hyper scaling that like this destruction of the internet. So you need that like proof layer effectively. And you know, what we realize with that and like where that's going to go is we understand that that is such a wide target that we simply can't do it ourselves. And so open source everything, find that next Steve Jobs, find that next entrepreneur. We'll say, great, like we found one, Phil George on OS, who does the marketing. And we understand that he is going to build a multi-billion dollar company, if not trillion-dollar company, completely revolutionizing that marketing industry. You know, we're working with airlines for loyalty, and we understand that is another trillion-dollar industry, that loyalty, right? And that's not something we can do alone. And so we are looking for the entrepreneurs. And we call this the age of unicorns, which is that like blitz scaling. Great, we proved out the proofs. Let's build, replicate, and hyperscale that.
How big is the team, and are there like a decentralized governance, or is there anything like that? Or
I would say like the actual team is like 30, but we have a bunch of projects working on us, probably size between like 10 to 20. I would say is like that sweet spot where, you know, we're placing that in, they're hyperscaling, they're growing. And, you know, I would say the Xion ecosystem in terms of people is probably close to 1,000. It's
all right. Maybe a tough question.
No way.
Why wouldn't some of your current customers, like let's say Uber or customers you might be supporting in the future, why wouldn't they just build their own infrastructure? Why would they want to use Xion?
Well, we don't actually, that's a good question, but we don't actually like pitch. We're not working with the Web3 team. So like we're not telling them it's crypto. We're going to their marketing team and we're saying, hey, well, do you want to spend 80% less? And normally people are like, yeah, I do. And that's the sell, right? So it doesn't matter. The infrastructure doesn't really matter. It really, really doesn't. The fact that we're a crypto company doesn't really matter. But it's the only way, as we said, that we can get you this information. We can save you a bunch of money. And like, I think for the first time, what we really realize is we need a benefit for this industry, not just being like, I mean, decentralization, security, scalability, and then just kind of moving on with that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks, man.
I'm really enjoying this conversation because
I called you handsome.
Of course.
Besides that, there may be
I'm hearing the truth. But I mean, obviously we are like neck deep in the crypto industry.
Yeah.
And, love talking about ZK rollups and,
cool.
You know, L1s and stuff. But a lot of what you're talking about really is like reaching to people who don't need to care about this.
Yeah,
right.
And they shouldn't.
They shouldn't need to care about it. And other than that, it can improve their life in some way, or if you're a business, it can make things more cost effective and things like that. When you go to companies or you talk to people who don't care about crypto at all, do you bring it up? Never.
Well, it's funny. Like we've built our distribution in such a way where we're so far disconnected from that actual conversation, which is really, really good. Like in the example of EarnOS, like it's the Uber marketing team talking to a marketing agency employed by a product that we built that is then like deployed on us, right? So it's so far away where we end up being like that core piece to be able to provide it, but it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wanted to you mentioned like airline loyalty points.
Yeah.
I'm just a little curious about that. I don't know if you can talk about it.
It's an interesting one because I got yelled at the other day. So I'm going to call it airline 1 and 2. But we're talking to a few airlines because what we did was, it was like a complete accident. Like in an internal hackathon, one of our, like it was our CTO who was like, hey, actually this is pretty interesting because I fly a lot and these are not the airlines. I'm just going to use two airlines. But let's say I spend a lot of my time in Korea, right? And I flew Air Korea. I had huge status loyalty on Air Korea, but I'm moving over to England for some reason. And
Bad move.
Bad move. our CMO who's filming right now lives in England. So
Matt is also
wonderful.
English,
Okay, I see a lot of hits here at once. But you want to unfortunately start flying British Airways a lot more.
bad move.
Bad move.
To escape that dystopian hell.
You're not talking to these because
Yeah.
but so there's this thing called like a status match thing, which British Airways would be like, great, like you can get a loyalty test if you prove to me that you're an actual loyalty member on Korean Airlines. And so the way it's done right now, it's actually just take a screenshot. And it is horribly efficient.
Really?
The reason our CTO built it is because he's like, yeah, I've just been editing screenshots for people, all my friends.
That's wild.
Yeah, and so he built this in an internal hackathon, and it was in tandem. We ended up getting a cold email from one of these major airlines, and we're like, hey, we're exploring this, and we're like, oh, we actually already built this. And so we started talking to one, worked really incredibly well. So then we're like, oh, we can make money off of this. So now we're like, we have conversations kind of globally with a bunch of different airlines, which is, it's something really, really small, but it's, you log in with, your Air Korea account, you log in with your British Airways account, and that's it, right? It's like, okay, we can prove cryptographically that you actually are a Korean Airlines account. Here's your status match. And I come from burning the Banksy, which was like loud and PR. But you then get to like what makes crypto, this is not sexy. It's a button.
That's awesome. I think it's cool.
Yeah. And so it's like little things like that.
I just imagined the poor people at the airlines who have to look at screenshots all day.
It's like a crayon, like
this is like looking at yeah.
Well, why did you get yelled at?
Which time?
Didn't you say didn't this story start off with?
Oh, because we haven't signed them yet.
Okay, yeah. So you can't. Yeah.
No, I can't really talk about the names of it yet.
Oh, you got yelled at for disclosing a name you shouldn't have.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Are you? Do you pay much attention to the crypto realm? I mean, like it's.
Yeah, I still exist like on crypto Twitter. I live on crypto Twitter.
Okay, so maybe let's zoom out. What excites you in the crypto space these days?
Oh crap, nothing really.
Stable coins.
Dude, okay, like stable coins. Oh, we're going into this one, dude. Because like 3 years ago, I would say like we originally like the first thing that we would like it's like, well, stable coins obviously need to be look fun. Like no one wants to do Ethereum, blah blah blah. And now we're getting like everyone and their mother is like, well, that's what we can, so let's launch a stable coin. And it's going to be the same thing with NFTs, where everyone in the world's going to have an NFT collection, and then they're going to get sick of it when crypto crashes, and then we're going to like go back to USDC, USDT, and it's just like we completely prolong the inevitable of like a winner take all on this. But it's like in the meantime, I guess we're just all having our own stable coins and increasing fragmentation. So it's like we did it, I guess.
So you think it's going to be a winner take most situation for stables eventually?
I think so.
Yes.
I think so. Or like you're going to have like a lot of whitelisting people, but it's all going to kind of settle down to the same thing. Like
Paxos is doing.
Yeah, like yeah. And it's just like, it's frustrating, I will say, because we were so close. Like I will say we were so close to being like, well, it's either USDC or USDT. They're going to win it. And then it was like, or maybe a third contender. And it's just like, here comes everyone. I'm like, great, this is going to be fun for fragmentation. I can't wait.
It's interesting that you compare it to NFTs. I like that.
Yeah.
That's going to be that's a good clip. Stable coins, proliferation.
It's the next one. It was meme coin. You always have this ICOs, NFTs, meme coins.
That's interesting. I like that.
Stable coins.
I like it. What time was that?
I want to ask you about Bitcoin, but before that, do you know what happened to where the burnt Banksy is, the NFT?
No, I actually like really, I continuously try to find the person, and because I will say that the person who bought it was called Galaxy, so I did think it was Mike Novogratz, but I've talked to Novogratz and said it wasn't him, so now I'm at a complete loss.
Okay.
It was like one of those new accounts funded by a Binance by a Binance centralized exchange wallet, so like nothing done before.
Trying to be anonymous.
And I like respect it, but like, I wanted, like, I always wanted to know. But
Has it moved at all?
It's still right there.
Wow.
I know.
Was it you?
I mean, dude, that'd be funny. That would be great, honestly. I'm like, yeah.
All right. So Xion, you're pretty deep in the weeds with ZK Tech and that kind of thing. But let's talk about Bitcoin for a second.
Cool.
Do you care about Bitcoin? Do you care about the whole idea of non-state money?
Yeah, I love Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin is this industry. You look at when Bitcoin goes up, we all go up. When Bitcoin goes down, we all go down. And I think Bitcoin was, we've had distributed systems forever, right? We had Leslie Paxos with the white paper, right? And so we've had distributed systems, but Bitcoin was the first use case of crypto, and it really spawned everything that you see today. I've been in this industry. I remember when Bitcoin used to be, it was originally digital money, but now it's digital gold. And I've seen it kind of make that transition. And I like the transition. You have characters like Michael Saylor now, which is really cool. You've always had them for a while. But, I definitely do agree, because it's one of these, like, the first use cases where it's like, hey, this worked. Now let's run with a million other things. And the next thing that ran after that was DeFi. And the thing that'll run after that is like, consumer, let's just call it, right? Which is, you have stage one of crypto, which was Bitcoin, stage two of crypto, which is, let's call it like Ethereum, Solana, et cetera. And then now, like, we're entering this new stage three of crypto, which is all of these things have been proven out. Let's hyper expand.
Do you think NFTs are going to make a comeback?
I think no. No, because I'll tell you why. I think they'll be renamed. Like, you look at RWAs, which were synthetic assets, which were tokenized securities, and, number go up, number go down, boo. But then we can rename it, and it's something completely different. You look at ICOs, IDOs, ICO, and what I do think, like, I think that they'll ideally, and we don't use the word NFT when we sell anything, but we have, like, a ticketing platform. We have a music platform. We have an art platform. And I think that, like, it was funny, like, caught up in the last cycle, no one cares that it's an NFT, like a non-fungible token. It does not matter, especially when you were like fractionalizing these things and then trading it. It didn't really matter anymore. And it was just jargon for the sake of jargon's sake. So it's like, do I care about NFTs? No. But do I like digital assets? Yeah. And I think that that's 100% the future. You're probably going to get like really, really cool artwork that a lot of people use to signify communities. You're probably going to get really, really efficient ticketing systems. You're going to get a Spotify competitor. All of them will probably be a token that's non-fungible, but who cares?
You have to be called NFT.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Anthony, as we wrap up, anything you'd like to plug? Where should people...
Xion. That's it. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Easy. So thank you, Anthony, for your time.